What's up, everybody? Welcome to the rLounge. Going no contact with mother-in-law. Am I the a-hole? Forgive me, I'm pretty new to Reddit, so I might not have all the acronyms. These are key things that have happened while I've known my mother-in-law. I could write a very large book about this woman. I have been with my significant other since 2017. We married in 2020. I met my future mother-in-law almost a year into dating my significant other. They had not had a great relationship. My mother-in-law abused my significant other throughout his childhood. I had heard rumors about this woman. I didn't believe them. I have a crazy mother. Really, my family in general is crazy. I thought I could handle her. I was wrong. Upon meeting this woman, she made comments about how she didn't meet me first. Significant other's parents are divorced. She wished the significant other included her in his life. While visiting, she started to say, "I'll grab a few pizzas from the fridge." Significant other warned me don't eat the food before we visited. Here's the thing, mother-in-law is a food hoarder. Not like end of times, more like buys near expired food and freezes it for years. The first few meetings were fine. I kept my mouth shut and ignored her side comments. Until my significant other's graduation, my parents also divorced, drove 4 hours from my significant other. After the ceremony, she made it very clear she didn't want to go for a meal, especially if her ex-husband was there. We still decided to go to a restaurant. Once there, she specifically told my significant other, "I'm paying for you," and proceeded to order for him. Thankfully, my significant other told her no. She got upset and started to order for her other two 15-plus-year-old children. After dinner, she quickly told me she preferred that my family didn't join us for the rest of the festivities. I was upset, but my family obliged and went home. The rest of the festivities was day-old cookie cake and her bickering. I did not attend. I stayed in our room and faked a headache for the night. When she came up to visit in Christmas, I had a plan for this woman. I made dinner plans and had an itinerary. I rolled out the carpet. She brought a chest of food when she came, making the comment, "I didn't know if you had any." All of it was expired. She gifted me for Christmas expired muffins and a used spatula, all of which went in the trash. Next were the constant money comments. "You shop till you drop." My personal favorite. "Do you have access to significant other's money too? I don't think he'd like you spending all of his money." I was the breadwinner at this time and had been for a while. The second to last night of their visit, my mother-in-law asked me, "Where are you from?" I answered, thinking nothing of it. She then asked, "Where are your parents from?" I'm Hispanic, my husband is white. I also wondered if race was her issue for smaller side comments she's made. She then asked, "Where are your grandparents from?" I finally lost my cool, stopped on the brakes and said, "You caught me. My grandpa was born in Mexico." Being overly flustered, she says, "It's not about race. How could you think that?" She then proceeds to prove how she isn't racist because she has Mexican kids in her class. Safe to say I had enough. I decided to go have dinner with my family. At dinner, I'll be honest, I got drunk. She was previously invited to said dinner, but didn't want to go because she didn't know those people. My significant other picks me up and drives me home. Once home, I avoided her like the plague. I slept off my hangover and didn't say goodbye when she left the following day. Safe to say this visit ruined any relationship I could have with this woman. As wedding planning approached, she became worse. She refused to be involved if her ex-husband was involved, accused us of keeping her out of the planning ceremonies, and tried to suggest to feed our guests year-old potato salad she had purchased and had been in her fridge. Sadly, the only day for our wedding was on her birthday. She accused us of stealing her big day. We always cut her out and don't let her in. A few months before the wedding, she said she wanted to talk to me. I told her I would, with my significant other present. The talk turned into 2 hours of her screaming at me and demanding an apology for getting in between her and her son. After that, I went no contact until our rehearsal dinner. She tried to corner me during the reception. I had it with this woman at this point and just walked away from her. As the reception dwindled down, she started screaming at my stepmother, demanding to take money for her planning her son's wedding. She was escorted out and was told if she acted up again, she wouldn't be allowed to attend the wedding. Since then, I have gone low to no contact with my mother-in-law. She occasionally tries to contact my husband. She does not know where we live. She is blocked on my social media after she started stalking my page from when I was in high school. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? Our first judgment comes from Third Time Lucky. Nah, sounds like you drew the short straw on mother-in-laws though. Give her a miss. Our next judgment comes from Headklein Zeus. Not the a-hole, but it sounds like she has some mental health issues. This is not normal behavior. Next up, I Love Montana chimes in. Not the a-hole at all. Declare her, if only to yourself, dead to you. Live as if she doesn't exist. Is your significant other also willing to cut contact? The OP replies, my significant other has struggled with his relationship with his mother for years. She was emotionally abusive and sometimes physically abusive throughout his childhood. He didn't speak to her for a few years before meeting me. I have asked multiple times for him to become completely no contact after she tried to ruin our wedding. He still picks up her calls on major holidays and during deaths in the family. He was gaslit to help out the family when his grandfather passed, and then kept from his inheritance. It came out his mother hid money given to him from his grandfather from not only him, but other family members in the family for years. She also hid firearms the elderly man left to his grandchildren. The last time she called, she begged him to hand the phone to me. She wanted our address. In the past, she would send us gaslighting cards or letters. I was polite and quick on the phone. I refused to give her the address and asked my significant other to not give it to her. As far as I know, he hasn't. I don't understand why he keeps giving in to this woman. Every time we go to visit his family, he goes and visits her. Every time I stay at his father's house, where I'm comfortable. I'm sorry this is a rant, but in short, he has minimal contact with her. Moving on. Mother-in-law plays the victim when she doesn't get her way. My husband and I just moved out of his parents' house 1 week ago, and his mother will not stop asking to come over. Even after telling her multiple times that we will have her over for dinner as soon as we settle in and recover from the whole process of moving. It's been exhausting, but the freedoms from his parents is what's keeping me optimistic. We had lived with them for 2 years, ever since we lost our jobs due to the pandemic, but she keeps harassing us to come over saying, he's my son, I need to know he's safe and living in a good place. Mind you, we moved 15 minutes away to a nice apartment, and I've tried to tell her multiple times, let's set a date for dinner next month. You come over, we'll have wine, and I'll cook. But she doesn't even listen. She just keeps going on about how, I asked my son why I can't come over, and he told me you were in charge of, but please, I miss him so much. It's a mom thing. He's my son. I just want to make sure he's okay. As if I'm tearing a baby from her arms. He's 27, and he comes to see you multiple times a week. My alarm bells are going off, and I don't feel like caving to her. After 2 years under her roof, doing things her way at my own expense, I just don't want her to get her way, even though the request is seemingly harmless and small. Our first response is from Roxy McFly. I'd reply with, you see him often when he comes to your house, and know he is safe and good. Also, I'd be on his case about blaming you for her not being invited over. This should be a WE statement. She hopes getting her foot in the door once will allow her to come over all the time. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if she showed up unannounced. The next response coming from the Beat Library. Your husband needs to stop throwing you under the bus with his OP's in charge nonsense. He needs to tell his mother no, make it clear the message has from him, and own it. One more bit of advice from J. Stone's World. Stand your ground. This is your space. Don't let her take charge or dictate what happens in your home. You said he visits her regularly. What's the problem? He's obviously safe. It's not like you have him locked up in the basement and feed him breadcrumbs. She's just being overbearing. Guaranteed she'll critique everything about your new home. Shut her down. Next up, losing my mind. Okay, so I'm typing this from my son's room, hiding out from my mother-in-law right now. I just had my son around 6 weeks ago, and he has baby acne. It's bad baby acne, but it will go away. My mother-in-law won't stop talking about it and suggesting remedies for it. I've told her repeatedly that it's acne, and the pediatrician said not to do anything about it, but now I'm supposed to give him oatmeal bath? I don't know. How would that work on his face? Stop eating wheat and do other things. I can't take it anymore. What's worse is she is our child care when I go back to work in a week. She has no boundaries at all. When I was in the hospital giving birth to my son, she rearranged my underwear drawer. I wish we could afford a babysitter or daycare, but we can't, and I'm so worried that this is going to make her existing lack of boundaries even worse. Sigh. Rant over. First reaction comes from Anna Lost Her Way. Free childcare is never actually free. Our next judgment is from Long Jumping 23357. Trust everyone on this board who says that having a mother-in-law who does not respect boundaries as your childcare is a bad idea. Sell plasma if you must to avoid. She's 100% guaranteed she will take measures with your child that you do not approve of. The OP responds, I know, and I already was selling plasma to pay for my 2.5-year-old son's daycare before. We pay $1,000 a month for my son already. On my teacher income and my husband's 2 bartending jobs, we can't afford anymore. We've tried. Short of getting our home foreclosed on, we can't do it. My husband and I already agreed it's only until the summer, and then by then, one of the 100+ jobs that I've applied to will hire me. And our last comment from Pleasant Year 2022. Take a risk. Tell her you're not going back to work after all. You've decided you can't work and manage your anxiety because of X, Y, and Z situations. And be explicit about what they were, i.e., the panties and how disrespectful she was. And the fear that more will come. That won't perform as a mother or employee because you've too dressed about the boundary stomping going on. I think she might crap her pants and have a word with herself. At the very least, I think it will put you a few tiers up in her eyes, and likely she'll respect your bads. But it may also get her to engage in a more detailed conversation about what the future, about what the rules with your baby are, and boom, you've got yourself childcare, and a job you never bailed on.